striking through your opponent's heart.
Ugh, I'm trying.
Now let me hear you roar like a tiger-dillo.
We've actually seen a tiger-dillo, if you remember back in Ba Sing Se. There was one all cooped up in the zoo. So in this shot, we could see Toph chilling upside down in her Fire Nation clothes. But she was actually wearing her normal outfit a few shots before this. Wait, and then the exact same shit happens again. Next shot, she's back to her green outfit, and then the very next shot, she's back to the red one. And back to green.
If you want to lounge around like a bunch of snail sloths all day, then go ahead.
Damn, snail sloth? Usually the animal fusions are fusions of two similar animals, like bird to bird or mammal to mammal. But gastropod to mammal? That's a pretty big leap. Well, I guess there was that one mention of a spider snake too, though.
Not bad, Baldy. But I've been working on my sand bending.
Toph taking some time to brush up on sandbending is probably a little callback to when she was helpless to save Appa. It probably wouldn't help her see better. I mean, she'd still kind of be fucked in that situation. But still, cool to see Toph's working on her own stuff too.
But I've been working on my sand bending.
Also, does this imply Aang made his sand sculpture without any bending at all? That shit is incredible then.
Wow, you even made a little Earth King in Bosco.
Can you really tell what those are from that angle, Aang?
Is that a blubbering blob monster?
No, it's Suki.
Suki, we'll all understand if you break up with him over this.
I'm sure you'd like that, wouldn't you, Toph, you conniving little bitch? Was that some symbolism? A fireball destroying Ba Sing Se? Kind of like how the Fire Lord is gonna rain fire on the entire Earth Kingdom in a few days' time? Wait, freeze frame. Very not obvious foot-scar continuity. That's right, I'm still doing that shit. It's been a while. It's important to catalog these things.
What are you doing?
Teaching you a lesson.
Nah, the Fire Nation probably barbecued all the Sky Bison too, didn't they? Man, I hate symbolism. We should go back to drawing on cave walls. Fuck this. What the hell? When did everyone become Spider-Man? First Suki clambering up a sheer steel wall, and now Zuko just crawls up this 90-degree angle too, seemingly with his knuckles? Alright, at least he's doing some inhuman level 99 parkour up the side of this building and not just walking up it. More obvious foot scar continuity in these few shots. They do a pretty good job of not forgetting, I gotta say. Holy shit, Zuko, this is your beach house, right? I mean, I guess it's your dad's. But still, this is definitely gonna kill the appraisal value when you try to sell it.
Why are you all looking at me like I'm crazy?
About Sozin's Comet. I was actually gonna wait to fight the Fire Lord until after it came.
Okay, well, I gotta point this out, Aang. Remember the first conversation you had with Roku and he said some shit like, you gotta sort this guy out before the comet arrives, or not even the Avatar will be able to restore balance? Has that just slipped your mind? It seemed like a pretty integral part of the whole conversation is all I'm saying. Roku made it pretty clear that fighting after the comet was a non-option.
The day before the eclipse, my father asked me to attend an important war meeting.
These are the same guys that offered Zuko all the nice prince stuff and did his bidding in that one episode. I guess they're like his personal servants. Neat.
General Shainu, your report.
Thank you, sir.
Oh shit, it's Colonel Shainu. I mean General Shainu. Good for you, bro. This was the same guy that was in command of the Yugan archers before Zhao came and took them. He got the promotion. Looks like he lost some weight. Shainu living his best life out here.
The people of the Earth Kingdom are proud and strong. They can endure anything as long as they have hope.
Yes, you're right. We need to destroy their hope.
Uh-oh.
Now, I will use its power to end the Earth Kingdom. Permanently.
I wanted to speak out against this horrifying plan, but I'm ashamed to say I didn't.
And we finally get to see the breaking point for Zuko realizing who he really is. This is the direct parallel to when he spoke out against the awful, evil plan when he was a kid. He did then and was brutally punished for it. And now, when he's put in the same situation, he bites his tongue. This scene takes place just before the scene of him walking down the hallway with Mai and coming to the conclusion that the perfect prince that his father wants isn't who he is. He's the kid that spoke out for what's right way back then. And this is the moment that he finally realized that. Really powerful stuff.
My whole life I struggled to gain my father's love and acceptance. But once I had it, I realized I lost myself getting there.
Even here, Zuko reaffirms it, just like his mother said in the flashbacks in Zuko Alone. At that moment, he didn't know who he was. He wanted to be the son his father wanted. But in this moment, he finally understands what his mother meant, because he's put in the same situation he was put in earlier, and he didn't speak out this time. He's changed, and not for the better. And that's the true catalyst for him leaving and joining the gang, which honestly, in the invasion episodes, isn't very clear. He gets to have that conversation with his dad that makes him leaving work in the moment, but it's also really cool that now we get to see the ultimate breaking point too, and how it's so tightly interwoven with why he left the Fire Nation the first time, because he was forced to, and how that contextualizes why he leaves this time, because he wants to.
I know you're scared, and I know you're not ready to save the world. But if you don't defeat the Fire Lord before the comet comes, there won't be a world to save anymore.
Aang's like, wait, that sounds familiar. Why does that sound familiar?
I assumed you were still gonna fight him before the comet. No one told me you decided to wait.
Okay, this is pretty much unacceptable from a leadership standpoint. The day of reckoning is coming and the entire team isn't on the same page. This is a bad look for Sokka or Aang or whoever the de facto leader is at this point. Oh god, Sokka, what happened?
Fighting the Fire Lord is gonna be the hardest thing we've ever done together. But I wouldn't want to do it any other way.
This is a very different mindset from where Aang started the season at.
I've always known that I would have to face the Fire Lord, but now I know I need to do it alone.
It's not really much of a character moment since Aang was just in a weird and bad headspace then, and this is more like the way he would normally think, but still, it's a nice little contrast.
So, have you ever redirected lightning before?
No!
There's always Katara and a little spirit water action, am I right?
Actually, I used it all up after Azula shot you.
I feel like this is a little bit of explaining that isn't very needed. I don't think any audience member would ever think that this was an option again after the way things went down. It's weird that they felt the need to write this little back and forth in.
Suki and I will draw his fire. Then Katara and Zuko charge in with some liquidy hot offense.
I think Sokka might misunderstand how powerful Ozai is going to be in the moment. It would probably more accurately go like this.
Suki and I will draw his fire. Then...
Never mind, they could just run up walls too. I don't know what's going on anymore. When did Toph become such an artisan? We haven't seen earthbending like this in the entire show, and now suddenly she's making bossing says and intricate rock soldiers?
Watch it, Toph!
I am not Toph. I am Melon Lord.
This is shot like this is supposed to be a really cool shot, like a spinning camera, two characters back to back, but I'm pretty sure this shot actually sucks. Zuko stands there and does a few punches, Katara just jumps in the air, and the rock soldiers just disintegrate. This shot is really bad for how good the rest of the action in the finale is. Also, let's fucking go! Zuko has 6 fingers on his right hand in this shot. You have no idea how many times I've counted fingers on hands in this series and never found a goddamn thing. Finally, I've done it.
There. That's how it's done.
Oh, here's some more symbolism and foreshadowing. This obviously references when Momo eats Ozai's brains in the final episode. Aang, the vegetarian, definitely has something with a bone through it on his plate here. Either Aang's cheating or his friends aren't very thoughtful of his dietary restrictions.
Maybe we can make some big pots of glue, and then I can use glue bending to stick his arms and legs together so he can't bend anymore.
This sounds like some shit you read on Avatar fan forums. Airbender should be able to do this, Earthbender should be able to do that. The show beat you to it, guys.
This goes against everything I learned from the monks. I can't just go around wiping out people I don't like.
I think this is a really smart and very Avatar way to handle the final episodes. To not just have it be a physical conflict with the Fire Lord, but a mental battle Aang has to win with himself. That's what all his training has been too. Not just learning the elements, but getting through things mentally and growing. But the show takes a very different route with the problem Aang is having here, and we'll get to that later.
Then when you figure out a way for me to beat the Fire Lord without taking his life, I'd love to hear it.
This animation always cracks me up. It's so weirdly over the top. Aang's like flailing his arms around and shit. It's so melodramatic. Touchdown Patriots. Man, Aang didn't touch this food either. Wait, did Aang beat Ozai on an empty stomach? He fights him 2 days from now, and he pretty much heads up with him immediately after getting off the lion turtle. And I don't see any fruiting trees on the lion turtle either. Man, Ozai got fucked on so hard just because Aang wanted to go get some breakfast. So I know the lion turtle is this weird spiritual creature that we don't know a lot about, like how they operate or what level of being they are, if you know what I mean. But it's just a funny thought that the lion turtle was just swimming around and then had to be like, yep, about time I go pick up the Avatar, I guess.
He left his staff. That's so strange.
Okay, here's a pretty crazy one. They're tracking Aang by his footprints, and if you look, Aang literally leaves a lighter footprint than everyone else. Twinkletoes is right, this guy's light on his feet. Guess it comes with being an airbender.
I bet he ran away again.
It took me a moment to think to what Toph was referring to here. Aang doesn't run away all that often for her to say it this casually. The only one there really is shortly after he woke up and he made a beeline for the Fire Nation looking to do who knows what. I still think he was looking to fight the Fire Lord right there and then.
He's definitely on a spirit world journey.
But if he was, wouldn't his body still be here?
Thanks for the assist, Zuko.
Let's split up and look for him.
I'm going with Zuko. What? Everyone else went on a life-changing field trip with Zuko. Now it's my turn.
Ah, they did it again. I think it would have been funnier if they just had this joke or the other joke. Wait, is this the same background guy from when Zuko was going over to May's house? You guys have got to start being impressed that I can notice these unimportant background people looking alike at some point, right? Oh god, please be impressed.
Avatar State!
I don't know where the hell Toph DiMaggio was hiding in this overhead shot, but he was definitely not in the middle of the circle of people. Also, even the Ember Island Players has more continuity than some episodes. Shit, these guys show up in 2 episodes at least.
And then when I was 9, I ran away again. I know I shouldn't complain.
There's literally sad violin music over top of Toph's sob story, and that is worth me writing a point about, I would say. I did it. I wrote a point about it. It looks like in these very quick moments that you can barely see, Toph has her meteor bracelet on, which is actually the first time we've seen it since Nightmares and Daydreams. She didn't even have it on last episode when she was sporting this outfit. It doesn't get much of a spotlight, but I guess this is actually the last time we ever see it.
Why are you all looking at me?
You ever notice that Sokka even picks up his head here to look at Zuko? Sokka also seems to be totally without his wrist wraps and gloves here. I guess Appa ate them. Looks like the crowning of the Phoenix King takes place in the same area the invasion forces landed. That seems weird. You'd think he'd want to do it in the middle of the capital or whatever, you know, with his people.
I thought we were going to do this together.
My decision is final.
You can't treat me like this. You can't treat me like Zuko!
That actually may be the most interesting line in the extremely expedited complete mental collapse of Azula, trademark pending. We're not getting into it yet, there's better moments to talk about it, but that is an interesting angle that's brought up here briefly, I'll say that.
I've decided to declare you the new Fire Lord.
Fire Lord Azula?
Azula seems genuinely taken aback here. Was this not always the plan? Azula succeeding Ozai, I mean? Even if you ignore Ozai hating Zuko, Zuko was banished for 3 years. You'd think that sometime in that stretch it would have been pretty clear that Azula was getting the throne. And besides, Ozai even set the precedent himself of a Fire Lord's second born being the successor.
From this moment on, I will be known as the Phoenix King.
That's interesting, because in my very, very rudimentary understanding of Eastern mythology, seriously, don't quote me on this, the Phoenix is actually more often associated with women, and men are represented by dragons. The Phoenix ties in with the whole rebirthing the world by fire thing, though, and the Dragon King is super on the nose and sounds dorky as fuck. Yeah, alright, Phoenix King it is. These flag-bearing Imperial Firebenders have a weird different color scheme than the normal Imperial Firebenders, and even the Imperial Firebenders that we see later moving on from this. The Phoenix flags are triangles, fire is a triangle, fire good. Seems obvious because it's such a banger, but the song called Cave Jivin' is playing in this bar. The same song that was played at Aang's secret dance party. I just made a bad meme about this last time, but we see June fighting Ryu from Street Fighter here. It's 1,000,000% him. He was in the last episode she was in too, getting messed up in an arm wrestling match. So much like the most recent 2-parters in this show, this 4-part finale is really paced out like a 4-part episode. This is all set up. We've set up Aang's internal conflict, and we've set up the Phoenix King. That's also why the action was so weird and low stakes. It's because we're not to that part of the episode yet, or movie in this case. I've actually heard this episode get some hate because it's kind of boring, but it's literally the start of the movie. You've got to start out like this and then build up to your big episodes. It plays its part, and because it has to play that part, there's not really much to say about it. It gets the job done. Patron shoutouts. If you want to be 2 episodes ahead of the YouTube releases, you can support me on Patreon for just a few bucks. Link, as always, is in the description below the video. Biggest shoutouts of all go to my top patrons: Agent Rhino, who bathes daily in molten steel; Ben Mizera, who's held a title belt in every MMA weight class; Bram G, who survived his parachute not opening by aiming for a mountain and then just running down the side of it; Brendan Murphy, who brought a woolly mammoth back to life using unknown science just to use it as a guard mammoth; Donnie Snow, who can see ghosts if they find them attractive, so he can see pretty much all ghosts; Dylan Calvo, who fought a giant squid over a keg of beer and won; Garrett Kane, who can live without his head attached to his body for 5 times longer than the average guy; Honor and Cultivation, who knows what an ampersand is, and that makes them better than you; Jerry Kraft, who could put a pool ball in between their forearm and bicep and crack it in half when they flex; Caitlin, who went to one of those slapping contests and the other person had to forfeit after they broke all their fingers; Kennedy Stapleton, who defused a bomb with a butter knife and a boomerang; Leif Arnhammer, who has a cyborg dolphin named Zyklon; Luke Herrera, who is destined to be the one to announce the alien presence to the world at large; Nick Kapainen, who's getting so good at tech deck tricks everyone else is thinking of giving up; Omega Fighter, who doesn't realize it but he's only in stage 1 of the metamorphosis; Skylos, who drank Cyclops blood and now can only see out of one eye, but twice as good; Sky Strider, who is responsible for that weird humming you hear when there's no other sound around you; Stephanie Riches, who has single-handedly been keeping the Yellowstone supervolcano from killing us all; Tiago Nascimento, who took a punch from a silverback gorilla and just walked it off; Varunda, who kicked down a brick wall to save a cat from a building fire; Whitrow, who has psychic dominion over all scorpions; and Zoopy, who looks like an angel decided to just give one man every positive physical feature imaginable. Even more huge shoutouts go to my other fuck you money patrons: Burb, Caesar's Ghost, Danger Stranger, Daniel Ward, Emperor Tromedlov Dromai, Eric Barney, etc., Finish Blood, Fritz Sullivan, Harrison Poland, Jared Berkman, John, Mandatory Sin, Misha Boblov, Nopetron, Pran of Prem, Random Curry, Sean Martin, Civi Actor, The Sinking Bubble, and You Frickin' Nerd. And of course my god overanalyzers: Alex Fritz, Alan Garvin, Ali QPZM, Andrew Watchett, Austin Gallup, Be My Valentine, Big Thirsty, Brando Espinoza, Brian Muffin, Cameron O'Solo, Canine Corpse, Charles Barnett, Dan Bertel, David Carlisle, DJ Jax, Do Mutual Aid, Dominic Saint, Distant, Earth 2 John, Eleanor Rose, Fingal Karn, Isaiah Wilson, It's Carton, Jacob Whitecotton, Jake the Garden Rake, Jay Lambo, Jimbo, John Ajaka, Jot Moreland, Joshua Bone, Josie Tiffany, Justin Scott, Kate and Connor Prendergast, Kate Axe, Keon Gilliland, Lady Serena, Lehman Norman Russ, literal NASA rocket scientist, Madison McCone, Matthew Stargell, Mitchell Gobrecht, Mortius 007, Nickel Pickle 582, Nicholas Abbott, Omar, Papa Jaka, Parker Gas, Radiator Rat, Riley Booth, Rocket Mist, Shadow Fox Nero, Sky Not Darkened, Sophie Kitty, Spory, Steinwand, Super Snipper, The Alternus, Travis Chestnut, Triad Juiced, Vavina Lockfire, Wilbur Base Boosted, William Willette, Wolfman Dan, Wool, Wyatt Pence, and Zachaholism. Man, I remember when I used to be able to do that in one breath. There's no chance. Next up is the Old Masters. We're really getting into it now, folks.